Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Indiana Housing Community Development Authority Board meeting, June 22nd, 2023, 10:06 a.m. And General Counsel, is there a quorum?
Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Perfect. And good morning. I'm calling to order the board meeting. We're meeting pursuant to the board's policy for participation by members of the IHCDA Board of Directors in board meetings by simultaneous electronic communication. This means that only 3 members must be physically present at the site of the meeting, and the remaining members may call in. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a link to the video recording posted on IHCDA's website next month. At the time the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. The votes will then be tallied by roll call. And I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm members who are present and their location. So Suzanne Crouch, Lieutenant Governor, I'm present. Andy Slywart, is that right? The designee, State Public Finance Director. Andy, are you present?
I am present virtually in Indianapolis.
Thank you. And then Treasurer of State Daniel Elliott.
Present.
Thank you. Board Member June Midkiff.
Oh, she's
June?
muted. You're muted, June. Sorry.
June, can you unmute yourself?
I think I did. Did that happen?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay,
Great, thank
present
you.
virtually.
Thank you, June. Board Member Andy Place Senior.
Here, present.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Board Member G. Michael Schottmar.
Present virtually from Evansville, Indiana.
Thank you. Board Member Tom McGowan. Tom with us. Thank you. So we will start. I would like to welcome to the podium Timothy Burleson, who's the Community Partnership Manager for Upholding, to share with us some comments. Welcome, Timothy.
Thank you. Well, first, I would like to welcome the board, the community members, our community partners, and I just want to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to show what we at Upholding do here at Harbor Square. This is Harbor Square is just one of the 5 properties that we have here in the state of Indiana. Our primary focus is permanent supportive housing, but we also do regular affordable housing as well. Our goals at Upholding really is to help encourage and build our tenants to make them feel more self-sufficient and reliant. In our model, what we use, we have a real 4-tiered model that we use to help build our tenants. That model includes helping build family support and networking. So we really try to help connect our families to the community. We try to build our properties close to resources that's available to help assist the families. We also have great partners as well. One of our partners is HealthLink Health Services, right? We partner with them. They're next door. We offer all our tenant services through HealthLink. We also have partnered with People's Bank, where we provide financial and credit relief programming to the tenants. We also provide employment enrichment to our tenants as well. And the goal is to say that we truly believe that working with the tenants and building strong relationships within the community. And that's one of the things I would like to say as well, so anybody know, our program isn't just for our tenants. We do offer our programs to everybody in the community. So if anybody who wants to participate in services that we have here at Harbor Square is open to it and welcome to come. We do try to promote within the community. So we just would like to expand in what we do, We really like to grow our outreach within this area. And we really want to encourage and thank everybody who do come and participate in what we do. So I want to just thank you guys for this opportunity to share what we do.
Thank you. Does anyone have any board members have questions for Timothy?
Yeah, before I walk away.
So do you have activities that you have here
Yes,
that are open to the community?
yes.
Okay,
We do, it's really outreach programming. We have a financial literacy classes that we do, and that's open to anybody who wants to come. HealthLink just had, in fact, yesterday, HealthLink just had a nutrition class that they had here, open to the community. We do try to encourage our tenants to participate, but we feel that this type of program is not only beneficial to our tenants, but it's beneficial to the community as well. So what we try to do is offer opportunities for people in the community to help grow themselves. So, and we believe that's a good thing to help build the community. Our goal is really try to build the community.
well, thank you. Any other
Any
questions?
Just
Thank
to
you.
commend you for all the great work that you're doing and looking forward to learning more.
Hey, we appreciate that. And like I said, once again, I thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what we do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Timothy. And we have a couple of other special guests with us. Jennifer Trowbridge, who's the president and CEO of Northwest Indiana Community Action. Is Jennifer here? Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And then Elizabeth Johnson, who's the Director of Projects and Grants representing Congressman Frank Mervan's office.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Our first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of the May 25th, 2023 board meeting. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? And if not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Madam Chair, I would move a motion for approval of the minutes.
Name?
Sorry. Daniel Elliott, motions for approval of the minutes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Andy Place, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Oops, I got to do the roll call, don't I?
Yes, ma'am.
We're all going to have problems. Suzanne Crouch votes yes. Andy Byworth?
Aye.
Thank you. Treasurer Daniel Elliott?
Yes.
Thank you. Board member June Kiff?
Aye.
Thank you. Board member Andy Place?
Aye.
Thank you. Board member G. Michael Shopmar?
Aye.
Thank you. And Tom McGowan is absent, so that passes. Thank you, board. So I guess our next item is that we're going to welcome Jeff Zongolowitz, who will present the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing Vouchers between IHCDA and St. Joseph County Housing Authority Board Memo. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you, Laura.
Did I get your name right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, so I'm here today to talk a little bit about our VASH program and request a reallocation of vouchers between us and St. Joseph County Housing Authority. Just a little bit of background on the VASH program. It's Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing. It is a voucher program that provides rental assistance to veterans who are experiencing homelessness in partnership with the VA. So we as the Housing Authority provide the rental assistance while the VA steps in and provides full wraparound supportive services. In Indiana, IHCDA has been allocated 436 of these vouchers. Currently, our utilization is 81%.
Yeah.
And looking in ways with the VA to get our utilization up, we identified that the main issue with not having higher utilization is a misallocation of vouchers to where they need to be. So we looked at ways that we could rebalance these vouchers so that they are in the communities where the veterans are that need those vouchers. So if we actually look closer at utilization with the Indianapolis VA, the Jesse Brown VA, which is Chicago and covers Northwest Indiana, and the Cincinnati VA, our utilization is actually at 100%. So we focused on the Northern VA, which covers Fort Wayne's, South Bend, northern area of the state, and identified that it would be beneficial to reallocate some of the vouchers from IHCDA to other communities in Northern Indiana. Last year, you approved a reallocation to South Bend Housing Authority, and now we are following up with a request to reallocate 11 of these vouchers to St. Joseph County Housing Authority. So with that, I can take any questions.
Any questions by board? If not, I believe we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve IHCDA to reallocate 11 VASH vouchers to the St. Joseph County Housing Authority in partnership with the Northern VA and in accordance with process described in PIH notice 2022-25.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Andy Place, motion for approval.
Thank you, Andy. Second?
Andy Cywert, second.
Thank you, Andy. It's been seconded. All in, whoops. Suzanne Crouch votes aye. Andy Cywert?
Aye.
Thank you. Daniel Elliott?
Aye.
June Midkiff?
Aye.
Andy Place?
Aye.
Michael Shotmar?
Aye.
And Tom McGowan is absent. Thank you, Jeff. And please welcome Samantha Sperger, who will present the Home Buyer Award recommendation for Southern Indiana Housing and Community Development Corporation. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. This is the first of 2 award recommendations under the Home Investment Partnerships Program, Home Buyer Program. The first was submitted by Southern Indiana Housing and Community Development Corporation, or IHCDA, on April 10th of this year. They're requesting funds for the new construction of 1 unit in Columbus, Indiana, as well as a request for a Community Housing Development Organization, or CHODO, operating funds. As with all our applications, it was reviewed for threshold and completeness and scoring, as well as the organization was reviewed to see if it met the CHODO regulations, and it did meet those requirements. This is the 3rd award for SIHCDC under the Home Buyer Program as part of their Lincoln Central Neighborhood Home Buyer Program that they operate in Columbus. They have successfully sold their first unit and are actually working currently on selling their second unit. So we're very excited for them. So I will see if anyone has any questions.
Any questions by board members? We're ready for your resolution.
Thank you, and I will have 2 under this.
Correct.
So first, staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding home funding in the form of a grant an amount not to exceed $94,349 to Southern Indiana Housing and Community Development Corporation as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Daniel Elliott, motion to approve.
Thank you.
Andy Place.
It's been moved and seconded. Suzanne Crouch votes aye. Andy Cywert?
Aye.
Thank you. Daniel Elliott?
Aye.
June Midkiff?
Aye.
Andy Place?
Aye.
Michael Shotmar?
Aye.
Tom McGowan is absent, so motion carries. We're ready for your second resolution.
Thank you. Staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approve awarding home CHODO operating supplement funding in a form of a grant in an amount not to exceed $50,000 to Southern Indiana Housing and Community Development Corporation as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Andy Place, motion for approval.
Thank you.
Daniel Elliott will second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Suzanne Crouch votes aye. Andy Cywert?
Aye.
Thank you. Daniel Elliott?
Aye.
June Midkiff?
Aye.
Andy Place?
Aye.
Michael Shotmar?
Aye.
Tom McGowan is absent. Motion carries. Thank you, Samantha. But I do believe you're up for the Home Buyer Award recommendations for Habitat of Humanity for Elkhart County. Thank you.
Thank you. Very similarly to the last award that the board just approved, Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County applied on March 23rd of this year for the new construction of 4 home buyer units in Elkhart, Indiana, and 1 unit in Goshen, Indiana. 3 of those units will have 3 bedrooms and 2 will have 4 bedrooms. Questions?
Does the board have questions? I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, Andy. We're ready for your resolution.
Thank you very much. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolutions. Resolution resolved the board approve awarding home funding in the form of a grant in an amount not to exceed $340,051 to Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County as recommended by staff.
Now I entertain a motion for approval.
Andy Place, motion for approval.
Thank you.
Andy Cywert, second.
Thank you, Andy. Suzanne Crouch votes yes. Andy Cywert?
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you. Daniel Elliott?
Aye.
June Midkiff?
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Mike Shopmar,
aye,
and Tom McGowan's absent. Motion carries. Thank you, Samantha. Please welcome Emily Krauser, who will present the CSBE Community Collaboration Awards Board Memo. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you very much. All right, so for some context, this is coming from our community service block grant regular year funding, which is intended to alleviate the causes and conditions of poverty at the local level through our network of local nonprofits who are designated as community action agencies. Of each federal award, 5% is to be used at the discretion of the state to support the objectives of the CSBG Act. One of those core tenets is for local community action agencies to convene their communities around issues affecting families living in poverty. So for this board memo today, staff is recommending utilizing $40,000, which is about 7% of the discretionary funding, to support 3 community action agencies that are undertaking community collaboration projects. These awards are going to enable the 3 agencies to lead broader community-based efforts to address an equity gap identified in their community needs statements or in other available. Applications for these were competitive and awards were only open to our state's community action agencies. We received 7 applications. They were all reviewed using a rubric. 4 projects met threshold and 3 scored above a minimum viable score. So staff is recommending here that all 3 of those who met both thresholds and the minimum score receive funding as outlined in Table A in your board packet. I'll stop here for questions.
Questions, board? Emily, I believe we're ready for your resolution.
Thank you. Staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding 2023 CSBG discretionary funds in an aggregate amount not to exceed $40,000 as set forth in Table A to implement community collaborations projects as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion that we approve.
Thank you, Daniel.
Mike Schrottmeyer, second,
Thank you, Mike. We have a motion before us. Suzanne Crouch votes yes. Andy Cywert.
Aye.
Thank you. Daniel Elliott.
Aye.
June Midkiff.
aye,
Andy Place.
Aye.
Michael Shopmar.
aye,
Tom McGowan is absent, so that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. But before we have Richard Harcourt come to present the single-family mortgage revenue bond 2023 Series C bond recommendation, I want to welcome Representative Carolyn Jackson, who joined us. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for being a part. Richard, we're ready.
Madam Chair and Board, good morning. As you know, a substantial portion of what IHCDA does is help first-time home buyers achieve home ownership with down payment assisted loans. And as part of those loans, we purchase those loans, we hold them on balance sheet, and we issue both tax exempt and taxable debt to fund the purchase of those loans. So I am back to you for the 3rd time this year requesting permission to issue Series 2023 C bonds to continue purchasing mortgages in our single family bond resolution. This bond issue will be a combination of both taxable and tax exempt. Again, the taxable market has really stepped forward and has been buying housing bonds, which has been great for us with in terms of extending our volume cap. We anticipate this financing will be about 3/8 tax exempt and the other 5/8 of it will be taxable. The resolution requests $250 million in authority. It's a broad resolution. You've seen this really same resolution twice this year already. We anticipate the issue will probably be somewhere in the 135 to 155 range. You also give us permission to do a refunding and variable rate debt, neither of which will probably be encompassed in this financing. And as always, we've had a conversation with our friends at IFA. They're aware of what we're doing and the proposed structure as well. So I'm here to request approval of Series 2023B or C, excuse me, and I'd be glad to take questions.
Questions, board? I believe we're ready for your resolution, Richard.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the issuance of the 2023 Series C bonds and the related bond documents and disclosure documents as substantially final in the form presented, and authorize any authorized officer to execute the same as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. Entertain a motion for approval.
Andy Seibert, so moved.
Thank you, Andy.
Andy Place second.
Andy, thank you, Andy. It's been moved and seconded. Suzanne Crouch votes aye. Andy Seibert,
Aye.
Daniel Elliott,
Aye.
June Midkiff,
aye,
Andy Place,
Aye.
Michael Shopmar.
aye,
Tom McGowan is absent. Motion carries. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And now please welcome Executive Director Jacob Seitz, who will provide us with an executive update.
Well, first, just want to thank everyone from Harbor Square Apartments here for hosting us today. It's such a nice facility that we have. We're in the community room here. And so I just want to thank everyone for allowing us to be here today and to have our board meetings here at an actual property that's been financed by IHCDA through the tax credit program. So I also want to thank our board of directors for allowing us to go on the road again. I know it's our first board meeting on the road outside of where we traditionally have our board meetings at IHCDA, but it's nice to actually have our board meetings in the properties that we finance at IHCDA. And I also want to recognize some of the residents that are here that took time out of their schedules to come into our board meetings. So it's great to have our residents be part of these types of meetings. So this morning, I'm proud that we had a groundbreaking in the West Calumet neighborhood. IHCDA has worked closely with the city of East Chicago over the last several years to develop a revolving local loan fund to develop single-family homes for home ownership. And IHCDA a couple years ago awarded $700,000 to the city as part of an initiative to work in West Calumet, which had some challenges related to some contamination within some of the soil, to work with the U.S. Department of Environmental Protection Agency to bring those lots back online for residential housing. And so this morning we had our first groundbreaking for the first homes that are going to be built in the West Calumet neighborhood. And the funds that we're putting in, and the city has matched our funds with $350,000, are going into a local revolving loan fund. And those funds will continue to be revolved here in the city as a major asset to support future residential housing opportunities here. So we're just excited about that partnership that we've had. It's been a little slow process, but we got here today and to do that groundbreaking. So I want to thank Mayor Copeland for working with us and his support for housing here in East Chicago as well. So earlier this spring, so we've talked about several times, we had some very severe thunderstorms and tornadoes that hit several communities in southern Indiana. As part of that, the state has created the Disaster Housing Task Force as a result of the response that the state has done. IHCDA participated in the one-stop shops. We provided hotel assistance for several residents that had been displaced. But now we have a Disaster Housing Task Force, and Matt Rayburn sitting on that task force, working with the Indiana Department of Homeland Security on developing some strategies around the affected households and some of the intermediate housing that may need to go into place to help with some of the residents that have been displaced or had severe damage to their homes. So we are meeting on a weekly basis with the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. So I don't have anything else to report other than that we do have that task force in place, and we're participating on that. So the other thing I want to mention is, as I mentioned, homeownership. It is homeownership month. June is homeownership month. Our homeownership team hosted an event specific for realtors and our mortgage loan officers on the IHCA products that we have in Evansville. We had a really nice turnout. I think we had over 50 realtors and mortgage loan officers attend this day event. And it gave us a chance to not just only share the products that IHCA has to offer in terms of down payment assistance and mortgage credit certificate, but also gave us an opportunity just to meet and to network with some of the realtors and the mortgage loan officers that are doing great work. You know, this year our reservations are very, very strong. Last year was a record year for us in terms of our single family mortgage products. This year, we're already outpacing where we were last year. And as Rich was mentioning, we're going back out for the third time to have some single family bonds being issued. And we've had to get creative to stretch our bond volume by using taxable bonds as well. But I just want to give the board just a quick update, kind of where we are in terms of our numbers as we think about our home ownership and our down payment assistance that we've been providing. So we're just around 1,668 single family reservations as of last Friday. That's just we're almost at $290 million of single family mortgages that we were providing. That's the type of volume. You compare that to where we were last year. We were at 1,547 and we were around 264 million. So at the end of last year, just to put some of this in perspective as well, we served almost 2,700 home buyers. We did $450 million of mortgages, and we were just around $26 million of down payment assistance, on average, or about $9,600 of down payment assistance. If we continue at the pace that we are, we're probably going to go over $30 million of down payment assistance, which is something that I never really thought we would be at. But our team has done great work. A few years ago, we made some changes to go up to 6% down payment assistance for closing costs as well. So our team has done a great job in researching and understanding what are the barriers to home ownership, and we responded. And clearly, the things that we put in place a couple of years ago, home buyers are really gravitating to IHCDA. Our customer service is great. Our turnaround time on files is probably 24 hours. So when a mortgage loan officer sends that file to IHCDA, we're turning it around in some cases the same day. That's really, really important, as you know, as a home buyer, as a mortgage loan officer and a realtor. They don't want any delays in that closing transaction. So IHCDA is really focused on turnaround times, and the team is doing a great job with that. And I think the products, the customer service, that's what you're seeing in these numbers and our commitment to home ownership. So just really proud of the team that we've done. I've also just a couple weeks ago had the realtors hosted a first Rural Housing Summit in French Lick, and I had the opportunity to go to that and present on some of these products that we have with our down payment and our mortgage credit certificates. So it was, again, we're out there meeting and networking and making sure that our mortgage loan officers really understand our products, because it can be confusing for a first-time home buyer to understand what's the best product for them. So that's kind of basically my updates for this month. There's one other thing I want to share with the board. We are exploring there's some funding that's available under the Environmental Protection Agency called Greenhouse Gas Reductions. And there's a program out there that's coming down the pike called Solar for All. It's $7 billion, and it's competitive, and the EPA will be accepting applications probably sometime this summer. I have been exploring whether or not IHCDA needs to play a role as maybe an applicant or a partner in this initiative. This initiative does have very specific goals targeting low and moderate income households with reducing their energy burden, but also carbon emissions. But so I'm exploring whether or not this is an opportunity for IHCDA to play a role in that space. I signed up to express that we are interested and to look for, is there other partnerships or is there another lead entity that wants to take the lead on that. They will only be one award per geographic area, which would be the state of Indiana. It might be smaller than the state, so that's one thing that I'm interested in, is IHCDA can serve all 92 counties, whereas if one organization within the state decides to apply and gets their funding, that could leave out some of the other counties. So there's no commitment. I'll bring this to the board if we do decide to think that it is a good fit for us, but I want to make sure that the board's aware of it. And we are exploring partnerships, exploring what that might look like for IHCDA if we decide to go down this road. So I just want to make sure that the board's aware of that. So,
do you know, would the funding be available for new homes or existing homes or housing development versus single family homes?
Yeah, it would be a combination of both. So it could be single family, it could be multifamily. One of the things I understand is they're going to look for a pipeline. So what does that pipeline look like? Obviously, we have a great pipeline of development, whether it be single family or multifamily. So that is one thing where I think, again, that probably makes sense for us in that area in terms of creating a pipeline. So, but yeah, so it could serve single family, and it doesn't have to be affordable. It could just be a homeowner who is interested in having solar put on their home. Something like that. In terms of how much funding, it's hard to say at this point what kind of dollars will be available. We know that there's going to be 60 awards made, and there's $7 billion available. So that's kind of where we are.
Questions?
There's a,
Yeah,
Jake,
Jake,
is there-
as the United States stands up the housing infrastructure fund, it might be, communication on that might be helpful to see if there's any dovetail possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
there's a real pushback from homeowners associations on allowing it. And there's a lot of stuff on the courts right now.
Yeah. I recognize that, may not be solar for all. But
Is what it is.
it is, that's right. I will say this, a lot of our not a lot, but we have been very active in solar with multifamily. I believe this property has solar above. I don't think this is a completely net zero building. I don't know if that's true or not. But we do have solar here, renewable energy here that's available. And I believe also you have you have electric charging stations for electric cars. You have 2, is that right? Okay, yeah. So that is some areas where we have seen continued interest providing electric charging stations, and then obviously with some of our multifamily properties utilizing renewable energy. We've also had a great partnership. Part of that was a partnership with Purdue University School for High Performance Building. So that relationship there is in place as well. And that's another thing I thought, well, maybe it does make sense for IHCDA since we already have this great partnership with Purdue University related to renewable energy as well. So no decision to be made. I'm still neutral on it, looking at the pros and cons, but I appreciate that. And I know some developers are also probably not too keen on renewable energy as well but conversations I've been having with some developers as well.
Any additional questions or comments for Jacob?
We'll be back at IHCA's office on July 27th for our July board meeting. It'll be at the IHCDA office 10 a.m. Eastern. So it's July 27th, Thursday.
Okay. Is there any further business to come before the board?
Madam Chair, I do have some documents for the board to sign, which you can give me like 2 minutes after the board meeting for me to pass those around. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No further business to come before the board at this time. We stand adjourned. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you.